Google and American Express are both partnering with Coinbase to expand their crypto services and functionality. This is bullish news, and major banks around the globe are adopting crypto. I'll give you the details. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I've got huge news to share with you, so make sure you watch and listen to the end. It's all bullish news. First, let's talk about price, because Bitcoin today made a move over 116,000. Now, as I've been telling you guys, tomorrow we're going to hear from the Fed, and any week of an FOMC meeting, there's going to be a lot of volatility. So don't be surprised if we see dumps tomorrow or a pump. Just be prepared for all types of madness, right? Especially even the days following, like Thursday and Friday. So one thing is for sure, we are in a macro bull market and we're still on track. So no invalidation. Just this week is going to be very volatile. The whales and the market makers are going to play with folks and try to shake them out. But as I've been sharing with you guys, global liquidity has recovered, and in fact, it has broken into new all-time highs. So this goes back to the thesis I've been telling you guys. Q4 could be a local top, and then the eventual blow-off top could come in Q1 2026. So we're going to continue to watch global liquidity in addition to other signals to see where we're at in the cycle, because some people are saying, hey, the blow-off top could happen in Q4, and it certainly could. But if all the signals don't align, we'll have to say, hey, look, this could be extended into 2026. So this is where we want to stay informed, look at the data and the metrics, not be emotional. And I will continue to share the updates with you guys. So things are looking good. I want to share some charts here from great analysts such as Crypto Wizard, who said eerily similar. Do you see it? Bitcoin has been trading extremely similar to the 2017 cycle. A reversal from here could lead to a monumental parabolic rally. Will the Fed help? He asked. And he shared the 2017 fractal chart compared to where we're at right now. And it looks eerily similar. So it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to play out this way, but we're seeing very similar patterns here. And here, my friend Caleb Franzen, who's a great analyst, I've had him on the podcast many times, he shared a chart showing Bitcoin trading above the 21 EMA, the 55-day EMA, and the 100-day EMA. He said the 21 is above the 55 and the 55 is above the 100. That's confirmation of an uptrend, folks. If we lose these levels, then we can get a bit concerned. Until then, I'm omega bullish. So again, the data now, right? So we are above these trend lines and support levels that we've seen historically. So once again, bull market's not over. We still got more to go, but we are in that final fifth wave, if you want to call it that, macro fifth wave now, if you're doing Elliott wave analysis. So the top is near. And when I say that, I know some people are going to get triggered and say, what, next week, next month? No, I'm talking like a 3 to 4 to 5 month window, right? And that's pretty much going to be it. That's, there's going to be show over once we hit that parabolic euphoric phase. The dumb money comes in, everybody and their uncle and grandma saying crypto's the greatest thing ever, but we know what follows that, right? This is just the nature of markets, and the same thing for the stock market. So folks, tomorrow is going to be a big day. Everybody's anticipating a 25 basis point cut. We could be surprised by the Fed and get 50%, but most likely it's going to be 25, because I think if they cut by 50%, it could trigger some warnings that the economy is not in a good place. And I don't think it is. I think if you look at the job numbers and so forth, they're not good. So we're in a light recession and whatever it may be, but that could trigger them to insert a lot of liquidity, in different ways. The Fed and the Treasury, they've been doing pseudo liquidity over the past couple of years. So let's see what happens. Nevertheless, bull market's still intact. And just be ready for some fireworks and things like that as we head into Q4. Now, here's more examples of we are still in the bull market. The Trump family's American Bitcoin just went public today on the NASDAQ. Last week, it was Gemini Exchange. Of course, this year, we saw a lot of companies, eToro, Bullish, of course, the biggest one being Circle. So no one does an IPO or goes public in a bear market, right? Come on. Now put your thinking caps on. So you got to look at all of these things. You got to look at the market holistically. That's why I'm giving you different point of views. So we're not looking at one metric and having tunnel vision for just a handful of metrics. We want to look at everything, right? Sentiment, what's happening in the market, liquidity, and all these things. So this is another example. And my hope, though, is that things like this are not going to roadblock the Clarity Act, the crypto legislation bill, from passing this fall, because a lot of Democrats don't like that Trump and his family are benefiting from this. And I'm just reporting the news to you, right? That's a fact. We've seen a lot of Democrats come out against this. So let's hope this doesn't trip us up later on, that the Democrats push through and they, don't really get too political here, but we'll have to wait and see. Folks, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Proppy. Proppy's leading the charge with putting real estate on chain. You can buy and sell homes on Proppy using crypto. So if you want to sell your home for Bitcoin or even buy a home that's for sale in Bitcoin or XRP or Ethereum, you can do that on Proppy. And their platform is powered with blockchain. We know that real estate is going to get tokenized, right? And the real estate process will use blockchain. A lot of intermediaries and middlemen are going to get cut out. This is the future. So Proppy's been doing this since 2017. They're a licensed Web3 pioneer. They facilitated over $4 billion in transactions. And they've put deeds on chain. They've created NFTs for homes and much more. And the buying and selling process, they use Coinbase with the crypto escrow. So I'm a Proppy token. I have been since 2018. When I discovered this project, I invested right away. I remember buying the token on Bittrex. So I'm very bullish on this. It's one of my big bets because, again, you see the direction the puck is heading in, and all assets are going to be tokenized, including the world's largest asset class, which is real estate. And this industry is primed to be disrupted by blockchain. So that's why I'm putting my money on Proppy. So if you'd like to learn more, go to proppy.com. Link will be in the description. Now, folks, look at this news. This is huge. Google unveils open source protocol for AI payments with stablecoin support. I've had many guests on the podcast and I've done interviews talking about AI agents will be using stablecoins, even humanoid robots. I've had quite a few interviews talking about that. And we're starting to see the development of this. So let me give you the details here, folks. Google has unveiled an open source protocol that allows AI applications to send and receive payments, including transactions using stablecoins, highlighting the growing role of dollar-pegged cryptocurrencies in the emerging AI-driven web. The initiative is being launched in partnership with Salesforce, American Express, and 60 other companies, Fortune reported Tuesday. Stablecoin functionality was developed in collaboration with crypto exchange Coinbase, and the Ethereum Foundation was also consulted on the project. James Tromans, head of Web3 at Google Cloud, confirmed the rollout, telling Fortune that the protocol was designed to support both existing payment rail capabilities as well as forthcoming capabilities such as stablecoins. Isn't this incredible, folks? Some people out there think crypto's a scam, a fad. Stablecoins don't make sense. Why do you need stablecoins? I have PayPal and Venmo. Yet PayPal and all these companies are adopting crypto and stablecoins and using blockchain rails because of the instant settlement. So this is where education is so important. You are seeing the biggest companies adopting this technology. So Coinbase engineer Eric Rappel said the exchange worked with Google to make their payment systems interoperable. Here's a quote: "We're all working to figure out how to make AI transmit value to each other," he told Fortune. The payment system builds on Google's agent-to-agent protocol introduced in April, which provides a framework for AI agents to exchange information and interact more efficiently. It was developed with support from more than 50 technology partners, including PayPal, Salesforce, and SAP, and consulting firms such as Deloitte, McKinsey, and PwC. The Tuesday announcement comes amid a growing push to connect AI agents, autonomous software programs capable of making decisions without human input, with decentralized finance protocols. Such integration would streamline trading, improve user interaction, and expand real-world payment use cases. Folks, the infrastructure is being built here for mass adoption, and not only amongst human beings, but AI agents and humanoid robots. So this is incredible news. And of course, the folks at Coinbase, they highlighted this. Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, tweeted out X402 plus Google just unlocked a new level for AI agents. Agents can actually pay each other now with X402 powering the stablecoin rail inside Google's new agentic payments protocol. Really cool. They also highlighted that Circle's developer control wallets and USDC, along with X402, APIs can charge down to cents and clients, human or AI, can pay per use. So you're going to get the micro payments here, fractional payments, even if it's like a couple pennies, right? Because no one pays each other that way, but AI agents will as certain interactions become cheaper. Things that cost a lot more with humans will now be cheaper with AI. So it's incredible what's being built here, and you can see how crypto and stablecoins are going to be used on blockchain rails. So I've often said AI and blockchain have a symbiotic relationship. They benefit each other in different ways. So this is incredible, incredible news. Now look at this, even more news with Coinbase, and it's with American Express. So American Express launches travel stamp NFTs on Base. Now, many of you know Base is the layer 2 on Ethereum created by Coinbase. And in fact, there's news coming out that they're looking to launch a coin, which is surprising. I thought they were going to avoid that, but more to come on that. I'm going to try to get an interview with Jesse Pollock from Coinbase again. So, miscollecting stamps in your passport, American Express is now giving US cardholders on-chain travel stamps for each country visited around the world. Each digital stamp with the Amex passport feature has an associated piece of art that will be an ERC721 token on Base. Colin Marlowe, VP of Emerging Partnerships at Amex Digital Labs, explained in an interview. Obviously, it's not a real passport, though, so don't bother showing the customs officer your app full of NFTs when you're jetting off to a new locale. Stamps are viewable within the existing Amex mobile app, which is separate from the upcoming Amex travel app that's launching September 18th. So American Express is backdating stamps to get cardholders started with their collections and will add stamps from the countries users have visited in the past 2 years. To start, a crypto wallet for each Amex mobile app user, custodied and operated by Amex, is spun up on the backend when users access the feature. Stamps are minted as tokens behind the scenes as cardholders use their Amex cards at different locations around the world. Here is a quote: "We're trying to do it in such a way that that's not so in someone's face," Marlowe said of American Express's approach to blockchain integrations. So this is key, right? Eventually, folks don't need to know if blockchain is powering the app, just like they don't need to know about TCP or what's running the web and websites and video sites. And, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or watching on YouTube or Rumble or wherever, you don't need to know how the logistics and the computations and all the things that are running behind the scenes. You just need to know it works. That's where we have to head to, and we're still early, but look at who's building here. American Express, Google. You guys have seen my interview with MasterCard's VP of Digital Assets. I mean, all the big companies are here, and I'm so glad I'm here early. I recognize this disruptive technology. I'm taking my bets, and it's paying off so far pretty well. My portfolio is in a good place. And of course, as we started off the podcast with, looking for further gains in the parabolic phase. But cardholders won't see the wallet that's spun up, that's abstracted away, won't be directly engaging with the blockchain at all, and won't be able to trade stamps. The stamps aren't introducing cardholders to crypto per se. They're supposed to be a way to feel just a little bit more fulfilled about global travel in the increasingly digital age. So Amex chose to put the stamps on chain as NFTs because blockchain assets can give a greater sense of permanence. Marlowe explained, like the ink of a physical stamp. Here's a quote: "We really are hoping again to capture a customer at the end of their journey when they're commemorating and thinking about where they've gone, in the hopes that they get inspired again and do something new with us next time." So, eventually these NFTs are going to expand, and they're going to become dynamic, and there's going to be more creativity. But I think this is a great start. A lot of folks are testing and doing a lot of innovative things here. So these NFTs will be on Base, right? So Ethereum's layer 2. So very bullish here for American Express, for Coinbase, and the crypto industry. Huge news. Now, we got some big news around banks around the globe. So we've been seeing payment companies, credit card companies, stock exchanges, banks all adopting crypto. Look at this. Santander's Openbank launches crypto trading in Germany, eyes Spain. The infrastructure being set up globally for more capital to come in, more adoption. And it's not just for retail, it is for institutional investors, the big money, of course. So Grupo Santander's digital bank Openbank is expanding in Europe with a new offering for German clients amid rising demand for crypto assets. The bank said Tuesday that customers in Germany can now buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Polygon, Cardano directly on its platform. According to Santander, the new service integrates crypto alongside Openbank's existing investment products, eliminating the need for third-party platforms and operating under the European Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation MiCA framework. Crypto trading services are planned to roll out to Spain in the coming weeks, along with additional token offerings and features such as crypto-to-crypto conversions. Incredible. Very bullish, folks. I hope you see what's happening here. These folks are not doing this for fun. They're not playing around here. They see this as a legitimate asset class that is going to continue to grow, and they recognize blockchain is the future, folks, the next layer on top of the internet, as we've been talking about for years. Here's another example. Swiss banks complete first blockchain-based legally binding payment. So not only are they offering the assets from an investment standpoint, they're building with it, tokenizing, and much more. So some of Switzerland's largest banks completed a proof of concept that tested blockchain technology and smart contracts for interbank payments, making what they said was the first legally binding bank payment via a public blockchain, not private, public. Years ago, they tried to bypass the public blockchain and create their own version. That's the walled garden problem, right? Why should I trust your centralized blockchain when you could easily pull the plug on me? We need a public blockchain that is decentralized and open and transparent, where we can all be validators and all review the transactions, right? So that's the way to go. Under the umbrella of the Swiss Bankers Association, UBS, Post Finance, and Signum Bank conducted a feasibility study on blockchain-based deposit tokens and payments infrastructure, the SBA announced Tuesday. The test initiated an off-chain fiat money transfer triggered by payment instructions tokenized on the blockchain as a deposit token. The first use case executed a payment between bank customers of the participating banks, while the second tested an escrow-like process that exchanged deposit tokens for tokenized real-world assets with automatically processed transactions. Incredible, folks. And we don't know which public blockchain, so we're going to have to wait for that information. But this is where, as an investor, this is where you want to look at this news and keep following it and see which blockchain or blockchains are using, and then you want to take your bet, obviously. Now, there's more to just taking a bet. You got to make sure you're timing the market right. In a sense, you don't want to buy near the top. You want to wait till, the bear market rolls around, buy and load up, because these banks are still going through the trial and error process. And as they figure things out, then they're going to scale and go into full production with their products, right? So this is where you got to put your thinking cap on, understand where we're at in the liquidity cycle. And then when the bear market comes, it's a perfect time to buy. And that's where you're going to be a contrarian to the herd, right? When everyone is scared and they're saying crypto's a scam again, that's when you want to buy. It's the same cyclical pattern over and over and over. So once you get that, folks, it's an enlightenment moment. It happened for me, and I stopped listening to mainstream media, finance news like Jim Cramer and all these things, right? Because those guys are not your friends. They're setting you up to be exit liquidity, and they are putting the narrative out there for the mainstream, the masses. But you want to do the opposite of the masses and that, right? When the masses are bearish, that's when you want to be bullish. When the masses are bullish, that's when you want to be bearish, right? You want to be looking to exit the market. I don't make the rules. This is the nature of markets. It happens in the stock market as well. Moving ahead, here's another example of a big banking financial institutions getting involved. Deutsche Borse subsidiary launches off-exchange settlement for institutions, not retail. institutions. So, Crypto Finance, a subsidiary of Deutsche Börse Group, launched a new off-exchange settlement solution to improve capital efficiency and trading flexibility for institutional crypto investors. The new product, Crypto Finance Anchor Note, allows institutions to trade on different platforms without moving their assets out of custody. It also helps them to settle trades off exchange and earn yields within a compliant risk control setup, according to a Tuesday announcement. Here's a quote. With Crypto Finance Anchor Note, we are closing a critical gap between custody and capital efficiency, said Philip Detwiller, head of custody and settlement at Crypto Finance. The launch is initially focused on the Swiss market with a broader European rollout expected in the near term. Guys, I mean, look at what is being built here. Again, don't get tunnel vision with the price. You got to understand price is going to follow all of these things as those big institutions get the products, they get the white glove service, they get all the data and analytics and reporting and all the things that exist for TradFi set up for them. They're going to send billions into this market. It will eventually get to trillions, right? Because blockchain rails are going to be used around the globe. And again, we're just seeing across the globe massive adoption here. This is so bullish. Now, moving ahead, Bitwise files for a stablecoin tokenization ETF with the US SEC. We know Bitwise Asset Management, they have a lot of ETF products. They file for an XRP ETF and much more. And they're very competitive. You know, they're one of the few that are very transparent. They show the wallet addresses for their Bitcoin ETF and things like that to show they actually have the funds, which I love. And I've had Matt Hogan of Bitwise on the pod many times. So let me give you the details here. Bitwise filed with the SEC to launch the stablecoin and tokenization ETF, an exchange traded fund designed to track an index split between companies tied to stablecoins and tokenization. According to a Tuesday filing, the proposed ETF will track an index featuring companies from stablecoin issuers, infrastructure providers, payment processors, exchanges, and retailers to regulated crypto exchange traded products with exposure to Bitcoin and Ether. I love it. A lot of new financial products are being created here, and this is really great for the market. Final news item here, Limewire. Remember Limewire, blast from the past, the file download platform. I remember using Limewire back in the day, downloading music and movies and things like that. We all did it at one point, right? But one of the things that was painstaking about it is when we were still on dial-up, it would take all night to download something. So you know those were kind of fun days of the internet. You know, it was Web 1.0 and it was still clunky, but it was something still very raw and unique about it, which I miss. But LimeWire has relaunched. I think maybe like 4 years ago. I remember interviewing someone from LimeWire, and they launched their own token. They're doing a lot of cool things for creators. Well, apparently they have acquired the infamous, I think it's Frye Festival brand. The reboot will integrate the LimeWire token NFT redemptions for OG ticket holders and a crypto-driven comeback in 2026. So I like this, Web3 technology giving life to these companies, which, are kind of legacy companies or have had issues like the Frye Festival brand. So they're introducing the Web3 technology, and look, the future is going to be more digital. The next generation, they're going to grow up in a digital world, and this is how they're going to operate. So this is where we as investors, we're going to take that bet, and we're going to be early, and the masses are still going to ignore it and call it a scam, a fad, and so forth. And they're going to miss that the companies or the products and services of the companies they currently use are actually innovating and building with it, but they're missing it, right? But this is the nature of markets. Not everyone was on board with the internet. Not everyone benefited from the dot-com boom, and even in Web 2 with social media companies and so forth, right? And eventually many of them play catch up. Many of them don't understand investing and what's happening with debasement and currency and why you need to put a good amount of your cash in assets to outpace the debate. They don't know all that stuff, right? But I'm trying to share that knowledge on here, and hopefully it's resonating. Hopefully it's helped you, and it has changed your outlook on investing, the markets, the economy. Because once you understand these things, it's so eye-opening. It's almost a blessing and a curse because you kind of know how the game is played. And then you try to tell people about it, they may not understand it, or they're not curious enough to take that next step. And then some of them are like, well, how the hell did you make money off crypto? How'd you do this? Well, you got to educate yourself. It's not just going to the casino and throwing it on black. There's understanding the macro thesis and the fundamentals is so important. But guys, this is where the opportunity, or this is why the opportunity is so huge. And count yourself lucky if you're here and you get what the hell is happening, because this is one of those once in a lifetime opportunities, and the ability to make money. And it's greater than we've seen in the past because there's no accreditation laws, right? Before it was, if you weren't part of a hedge fund or you weren't an accredited investor, even you couldn't get access to private equity in the .com companies, for example. Now you can get access to the tokens. You could be in any part of the world. You don't have to buy $250,000 of the token. You could just buy $10, even $100, as much as you can, and that could help you grow your wealth, right? So it's such an incredible opportunity. But folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Incredibly bullish stuff. Remember, tomorrow's going to be a volatile day. We'll see what the Fed does, and this week will be volatile and for the most part. So just don't be surprised if you see swings either way, right? And watch out for fake outs. But I think come next week, when the dust is settled, we can get back on track and get an idea of when things are going to start picking up steam and so on and so forth. Folks, a great way you can support me is by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.